Hi everyone, hope you are having a good week. So I'm back this week to finish off my vintage image block. My next task that I was going to do was to stitch down my Suffolk puffs, just working out how I want them placed. I think just a little cluster of them towards the bottom, something like that. So I've actually got my thread is already in here, like it's just here because I've finished stitching down all of this stuff. So I'm just going to go straight on top using the plain white thread. Where am I moving up a little bit there? Okay, and simply it's going to be an overcast stitch around the outside. Okay, so just down through the fabric, up, just capturing a little bit of the edge and working my way around. It shouldn't take too long to get these stitched down. So this block is actually a pretty quick one. I didn't have to spend too long, although obviously I did a little bit off screen last week. The whole block hasn't taken me too long to put together. I'm loving a lot of the vintage images. If you're still stuck for ideas, I've noticed a lot of people are using basically old Christmas fabric. Just a little, image from some old Christmas fabric would be wonderful as well. Some amazing images that people have actually printed onto fabric, but I know that not everyone would have a printer or know how to do that. I know one lady had a lot of trouble. She tried the different methods, the freezer paper, her printer wouldn't take it. And then she tried Caterina Giglio's method for transferring images onto fabric, and it was an amazing result. It looks fantastic. I love the way it's come out. So that was one lady who's in our Facebook group, and I'm really glad that you persisted because it's turned out beautifully. So don't stress if you don't have an image or a postcard or something like that. Just find some old fabric, some old Christmas fabric where maybe there's a cool old Santa on it, or a reindeer, or candy canes, or whatever you want. Or one person did a vintage embroidery. So you could find a vintage Christmas image or even an embroidery pattern. Just draw it down onto your fabric. You could trace it on using a window if you don't have a light box. Freehand draw it, whatever you like. And it could be as simple as just like red work stitching, where you're just stitching the lines in red thread. So there's lots of different ways that you can do this. Just because we do it a certain way doesn't mean yours has to be the same. You can definitely come up with your own version, as long as it's obviously related to the prompt. We're happy for you to post different ideas in the Facebook group. But if it's obviously unrelated and you've become like a little bit too far sidetracked and we can't quite work out which prompt it is, you can put it in your book. No one's going to stop you. It's your book. But maybe you just don't post in our group because it's a bit too different. So anyway, just trying to give everybody simple ideas so that you are able to still get this block done. Okay, so sorry, I just turned off the video for a little bit while I sewed these down. Sorry, I just disappeared on you. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to stitch down this little scrap piece of fabric here with, I'm just going to do the Canthus style stitching on it with the crochet cotton, a thin one. Okay, so keeping with my red and white theme, just got this little scrap here to make it, give it a bit of interest. And literally just some little Cantha running stitch. All right, so I'm just show you, I'll just get to the end here and I'll show you what's coming next, because I think I'll layer it up rather than stitching it all down right now. I'm going to layer it up because I will cant the stitch over the piece that I'm putting on top. So I've just got this scrap that I cut up an old sort of linen, red and white linen bag, and it had a sort of a trim on the edge, and this is just a piece of scrap. So I want to basically, I think I'm just going to layer that on top, and I will stitch that down, just doing the running stitch as well. So I'm going to put that down because there's no point in me stitching the fabric first and then layering this on and stitching on it again when I can just do two at once. I could have pinned it all in place. That would have been probably a little bit better, but it doesn't matter. I'm just laying it on. And I don't mind if it's not perfectly straight, because nothing is ever perfect with my stitching. Alright, so you get the idea. I will turn off the video now and finish stitching down this little trim, and then I'll show you the next thing that I'm going to add. Okay, I'll be back in a sec. Okay, so we're all stitched down. Now I'm just going to layer this piece of the French laundry label trim with number 23 on this one. I'm just going to layer that down the bottom, and just seeing where my thread is, it's just here. I am just going to do the little overcast stitch around the edge of this, holding it in place. I think I'll just do it. Not, it's going to be crooked, hang on. Not too close together, my stitches. We're going a bit crooked. Get there. Hang on. Let me just straighten it up a bit. Okay, I'll stitch this down and then I'll come back and show you my next thing I'm doing here. Alright, so I've done a bit more work on this. I stitched down some little buttons here after stitching on my numbers. I've stitched on this little sort of lacy florally thing up here, and now in this corner I cut out some holly leaves out of felted wool, and the final thing that I want to do is just to stitch down 3 berries. Okay, so I'm going to use just an old DMC perlé thread. I'll get myself a needle. Just going to use the same red for all 3 berries. Let's position them down on this corner. Start with the first one, just little overcast stitches around the edge. A bit hot actually. I've just got home from hockey. Good news is we played our first summer game tonight and we beat our top team in our club, where I'm in the second team, and we beat the team that's above us. The game was actually really even. Not exactly the same teams from winter, but very similar. And it was a fun game. Summer's fun because it's just social. We laugh about stuff. You know, there's the refs have a bit of fun. The games are just slightly shorter than like proper winter, and we don't train, we just play on a Wednesday night. So it was quite hot. The game was at 8:20 and it was 28 degrees. So quite hot, and it's fairly humid around Sydney at the moment because we've still getting quite a bit of rain. So there's a bit of humidity as well. But good to be back in it. We pretty much play almost right up until Christmas, and then that's the end of summer season. Summer season is just short, and then we have a break until about sort of late February, early March, when we start training for winter season, which is much longer. Goes through to September. I think this will be the last thing that I add onto my block. I don't think I'm going to do any more embellishing. I like how it's looking. It's got some interesting sort of focal points. So I'll just finish these last two berries off and then I'm done. So next month is November. Can you believe, what have we got? 4 blocks to go. It's amazing. We've done a lot. And then Rach will be revealing the block next week. I think that's correct. Rach, yes, November. You're on November. And so there'll be 2 new blocks coming up in November and a new feature. I can't even remember what they are. And then in December, I'll be doing the last 2 blocks and the last feature as well. And in December, we'll work on showing you how we're putting our books together again, especially for people that might not have done our Volume 1 of Roxy's Journal of Stitchery. I haven't even decided what I'm doing or finalised which book I'm going to use. I think I know one that I'd like to use. But I have done my blocks all different sizes, so I'm going to make them work and figure that out. And I have got a book that's quite a nice size. I was going to use one Rach sent me, but I ended up doing pages that are too big for that book, so I'll use that book for something else. So both Rach and I are doing our Volume 2s as in the hardcover books again, but some people I know are doing different things like wall hangings or bunting. I think one lady's doing bunting, or you could do a soft cover book if you prefer. And then the next project, which we will reveal, I'll talk Rach, when are we going to do that? Maybe late November or early December, will be something different. So you always have options with our projects. You don't have to be rigid and do exactly what we're describing. You can vary things up, but we are both going to do something different. So it's not going to be a book. But certainly if you did want to do another book, you could easily adapt the next project to a book. So all will be revealed. We're trying to make sure we've got some variety in what we're doing. Rach and I probably need to have another chat because we haven't talked about it for a little while, but the concept is there. Most of our block ideas are thought out, and we've just got to get it all ordered and ready to present to you guys. So hopefully you want to join us again. I know some people have done both Volume 1 and 2, and hopefully you want to join us for Volume 3, which we're aiming to make it a 6-month project again. And then after that, who knows? We'll see how we go. It's certainly been fun having so many people following along and seeing so many different ways, and like just giving us ideas as well. We're getting a lot of inspiration and ideas from other people, which is really good. Okay. All right. So that will do for this block for this month. So just to recap, most of my backgrounds were just red and white fabrics. I'm just looking at them. They're all old or reclaimed. Lots of different types of laces and trims. This kind of half a doily on here. These are vintage Suffolk puffs. The buttons are all old. The French labels are old. The little bits of trim and scraps of fabric. And this lace here I got from Lisa Mattock. That's old. This is new printed by Rach, but an old postcard. And then I did the seam binding that had been dyed. It's kind of a grey with, it looks like it's got a bit of tea dye on it as well. I love this lace. I've got this off a top. I've actually used it in both volume 1 and volume 2. And I actually even dyed some of this green, which I used in volume 1. It's a beautiful lace off an old top. So that's my block done. I hope you like it. And we'll see you next week for a new one. Thanks for watching. Bye.